Alright, welcome back to the channel. What we have today is a 19-inch K7000. I believe it's a K7000B, they call it. But you can see here it's kind of falling apart in the wrapping. I mentioned that I had 4 other chassis here in the previous video. I think it's the previous one to this. I was showcasing that 29-inch VGA only Mac Vision. And I mentioned that I had got a bunch of other chassis that were part of an operator who received these from another friend of his and said, hey, do you want these? I have no use for them. And so he received them and contacted me and said, hey, I don't have any use for these. Do you want them? So I got all these. There's 3 other ones that'll be out in series after this one. But this is basically a 19-inch K7000B with the tan PCB, not the green one. But the tape is so old that just from handling it, it's just falling apart. I haven't taken it out and looked at it yet. I just picked it up off the pile and it's just disintegrated because it's so old that there's nothing even left of the adhesive. It's gone. And there's a piece of tape here that says repaired. Let's zoom in a bit. Repaired November 5th of 2003. So I'm very sure, 99.9% sure this has been sitting somewhere for the last 18 years or so. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, let's open it up and take a look. There's another sticker here, or tape that says 9-pin repaired 11.5. I don't know. Either way, yeah, I think it's been sitting around. Oh, here's another one. It's labeled 9-pin repaired May 2nd. Runs something. I don't know. Well, let's take a look. This is one of the ones with the ribbon cable that's meant for the small neck. There's 2 different types of tubes for the K7000. There's a large neck and a small neck, and I'm pretty sure this is the small neck version, and I'll go into more detail later when we go to put this on a picture tube to test it. But let's give it a good overview here. Get rid of this 18-year-old bubble wrap. Right away, I don't know what is going on with this. This is the focus wire they got going to ground. The focus wire is going into whatever this is, which is combined with the flyback focus wire. So they got the focus wire going to the focus wire in here somewhere, but there's another side here and it's going right to ground. They got the focus wire going to ground. I have no idea what's going on here. Is this a disconnect of some kind? No. What in the hell is this about? Well, I'm very curious to see what this does. I may leave this. I don't know what is going on with this. I may leave it just for the sake of scientific experimentation. They got a knot in the anode cable. Not sure why they did that. Probably to shorten up the cable, which doesn't necessarily need to be done. Okay, we got some bent resistors, par for the course, and it looks like it's been recapped. They're not Nichicon caps, but I'm sure they're fine. But obviously they're probably 18 years old and haven't been used too much. It's got some usage on it. The jumper wire is set to right, so we're going to put that in center if it'll let me. Move that to the center pin. Alright. Well, it looks, except for all the flux and residue and crap all over it, it looks fairly clean. This is still a big anomaly here. I don't know what's up with that. Yeah, on this particular type of chassis, you can see here that they got the 50-60 Hertz pot is right here. And normally, you know, you see these mounted. Normally they're mounted right here on the board. But this version, the K7000B, you can see it says P447B. The green, the standard type with the green PCB is a just P447 that has a B, so it's a K7000B. And you can see the 50-60 Hertz pot is mounted here with the rest of them as opposed to being right there. So that's an anomaly other than the brown PCB, and this is a dead giveaway. It's a 7000B. But the top, except for this here, looks pretty good. Again, it's got the ribbon cable. Another dead giveaway. They didn't change out the bipolar caps when they did the cap kit, but not too big of a deal. Well, it looks intact. I can't say much about any suspicions here. Let's look at the back side. It's going to need some reflow work. As always, we got the resistor here. I think it's 89, 101, R101. This guy here, the very common, you can see how hot this gets across this point and this point. It's one of the most common issues. I've talked about this every time. You can see that this solder joint is not looking very good. It's very oxidized, hardly any solder on there. C23 is lifted. You can see it lifted off of there, so we're going to have to fix that. And just looking around here, yeah, both of these pads for R101 are very oxidized and heat damaged, so we'll have to fix those. And I'll give everything else a good look over here. Looks fairly good. Whoever did the cap kit did a fairly decent job. I say that after noticing that that pad is lifted here. So we'll do our common repair of putting a jumper across here if we have to, or fixing the oxidized pads for R101. And C57 also looks like it's fairly butchered a bit right here. This guy, does it move around? It sure does. Wiggle wiggle. But it's not broken off the pad, but we'll scrape this away and fix that. I'll do all the normal stuff, and then we'll go through and do all of our testing. I'll do a full inspection here. I'll do the reflow work and the repair, and then I'll cut away to do all that. I've got plenty of videos showing how I do that. I'll show the after work here of what I did to do all that, and then we'll do our testing, and then we'll turn it on, see what it does. I'm very curious to see what happens with this focus wire being grounded. I don't imagine it'll damage anything, because I assume it was working that way. I'm not sure what the idea behind that was. Looks like all the pots, well, not all of them. Where is, here it is. I normally put all these to center just for a good baseline. I'm scared that maybe a couple of these are not going to work because of how loose they are, but we'll find out. Okay. Otherwise, this looks fairly decent. I don't think they changed out C204. This looks original. I don't see any rework evidence on the solder pads. I don't think they did a full cap kit, but most of them are replaced. Like I said, they definitely didn't change out the bipolar caps. They did not change C204 on here. So, but nothing to really worry about. I think we'll be okay. Let me get all the reflow and rework done, and I'll come back and show it off, and then we'll do all of our testing. And assuming we don't find anything wrong, we'll get a tube and fire it up. So give me a moment here. Alright, so the work is done, and all of the inspection and reflow and everything is complete on the bottom, so we can not have to worry about any of that as far as from what I could tell. So if we look here, you know, like this area right here, I've got I removed this leg of the cap. I just removed the original solder and bent that leg out and used the fiberglass pen here to scrape away the trace and expose it, and soldered right to it. So now it's nice and secure. And we got the same thing done here on C57, and did all the reflow work on anything else that looks suspect or oxidized or slightly bad, and everything is good, including the header pins for the video connection, and anything else that looked suspicious has all been reflowed. So basically it's all been inspected and checked out, and it's all good. So now let's go ahead and check this side. And we've already set our pots to center. I have not inspected the remote board pots yet. Let's make sure none of those are broken. And yeah, they all look okay. Good secure connection. Alright. I don't see any broken wires off of the connectors here for the remote harness, but I always like to zip tie this off just in case, which I can do that right now. Because yeah, you want the stress point to be here and not on here going back and forth and breaking wires off. So let's make sure we get that done. That should be good enough. Don't want to do too tight because of the ribbon cable aspect of it. You know, I'm half tempted to cut this off of here and inspect the back side of the neck board. Yeah, other than being a bit dirty, it seems okay. Somebody cut the DAG wire connection off of here, so we'll have to strip that the correct way. Alright, well, let's go through and do all of our testing. Assuming everything is good, we'll fire it up, see if we get lucky. We'll start with our voltage regulator. Again, we can test the voltage regulator. Normally you go across, for this particular type, the SRT30123, with the 5 legs, or well, they all have 5 legs, but for this type here with the tall version versus the wide version, it's pins 2 and 3. No, 3 and 4? Pins 3 and 4, I think, actually. 3 and 4. Let me verify here real quick. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, okay, 3 and 4, sorry. On this type, it's pins 3 and 4. On the wide version, it's 1 and 4. So if we go to pins 3 and 4, one, two, three, 4. So pins 3 and 4 read across the B plus resistor. Now on the B plus resistor on the 19-inch, it's 220, and 200 to 220. On the 25-inch chassis, it's 180. So if we actually touch these together, if we get a good connection any day now, yeah, 215 ohms. So in contrast, if you touch these together and you get 0.0 or something like that, then your voltage regulator is shorted. Or if you go to pins 3 and 4 on the regulator itself, you should read the same thing, 215. If you read 0.0, it's shorted. So our voltage regulator is good. If we have the type that's wide, you go to pins 1 and 4, and you should read the same type of thing. So that's our voltage regulator is good. We can test our HOT by going to here. Upside down here, we can go like this. 0.5 and 0.5. Well, there we go, 0.5. HOT is good. Let's test R103, this guy here. If that's no good, it won't turn on. We'll go to these two pads. Should be 3 ohms if I recall. 3.2, so we're good there. 2.93. So that R103 is good. We can test our C38, which is our width cap, which is this guy here, C38. We'll go across these 2 points here. and we are not shorted, so that's good. All we're checking to make sure is that we're not shorted. Our C36. The 19-inch here has a different setup than the 25-inch. It's just a single C36 here, as opposed to the 4-leg or the double capacitor setup here with C36 and C36, C69, I think it is. Yeah, C69. There's no C69 in here. You can see it goes right here. There's no capacitor. So it's just a single C36 setup on the 19-inch here. And if we go across C36, it's not shorted, and it should be 0.5, like it should be like a diode across the HOT. I have it backwards. Well, I'm not sure 100%. It's normally it reads like the HOT, but well, there's our voltage drop through the diode, and if we go to our continuity mode, it's not shorted. That's all we're verifying, is that it's not shorted. It reads 216. It's probably reading through the B plus resistor. It's odd that I don't recall that reading like that. That's kind of odd. It could be a normal reading, but I don't recall it. You know, I have more experience on the 25-inch, but I think that might be good. Well, like I say, all we're checking to make sure is that it's not shorted, and 215 ohms is not shorted. So because it's not shorted, we can go ahead and move on. Let's test our other resistors here. R104 should be 15K. I'm sorry, not 15, 15 ohms, sorry. 15 ohms. Then we have R89, should be 3.9. 3.9. R97, this thing is 220. 262, close enough. And then let's see, R101 should be, it's 6K ohm out of circuit and somewhere around 4.5 in circuit, I think. Yep, 4.2. And then I think R96 is that also 4.5K? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, I just found a problem. This is why you check. 1.8, that's correct. But it's not in circuit. It's not in circuit. It came out. See that? It's just flopping around here. It's not in circuit. Somebody desoldered it. You know, a lot of people don't normally check all these resistors, but I made it a habit to check them because I've had issues before where things are not working and you can't figure it out and you're scratching your head and one of these resistors is bad. One of these metal film resistors. So yeah, that's interesting. It's not in circuit. R96 is not in circuit. Where's the other side of the pad? Look, it's right here. It's not even soldered in. R96 is right here across this point to this point, and it's not even, it doesn't appear to have even ever been soldered in. It's nothing there. It's just it's a soldered over hole. That's a first. There we go. Now it's through. Huh. That's an oddity for sure on that. I'm not sure what would have happened if I had tried to fire it up like that. The leg is a bit oxidized. The solder's not wanting to stick to it. There we go. Perfect. Well, that was a nice find. Okay. D18. We'll check D18. Back to diode. Zoom back out. D18 is this guy down in here in front of the yoke connection. And we'll go negative this way. And positive. There's our 0.5 voltage drop. Come on. There we go, 0.473. Alright, so we got HOT, voltage regulator, all of our metal film resistors, our ceramic resistors, D18, C36, C38, our B plus resistor. We can check D13 and D14, these two diodes in here that can go bad. D13, I always get these backwards. Oh, well, this has got it labeled here. All right. D13 should be this way. That's good. D14 is the other way. 0.3, something's usually correct for D14. That's correct. So those are good. R91 should be 1.2 ohms. Are you going to read for me? Any day? 2.0. Okay, I'll live with that. Well, let's check our bridge rectifier diodes, and that'll be it. That one's good. That one's good. That one's good. Good. Good, and well, okay, I don't see any reason why this won't fire up. So let me get a picture tube. We'll get it hooked up, fire it up, see what we get. Let's test our fuse. It looks good, but yeah, the fuse is good. Let's go ahead and take it out, clean it off a bit, stick it back in. Actually, let's make sure someone didn't stick one that's higher rated in there. 1.5 amp. That's the original fuse, it looks like. Okay, picture tube time. Let's see what we get. Well, I made a mistake. I assumed that this was a small neck K7000B because, as you can see here, I've got another one, and I've actually got a second chassis. So I have a full, complete small neck K7000B and a whole nother chassis. This will be number 3 that of the 7000B variant here with ribbon cable and the brown PCB. So I actually have, this is the third one of these that I have for the 19-inch tube. However, the other two that I have are the small neck version, which is the 7-pin. And for some reason I had totally blanked on the fact that the small neck is the 7-pin and the large neck is the 9-pin. You can see here it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pins. This one and this one aren't used. That's the focus. So it's 9 pins. As you can see here, this is a much smaller circumference neck, and if I take the neck board off of here, I can do this one-handed. It's going to be tough here. There we go. This one only has 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the small neck. It's a much smaller circumference tube with 7 pins versus 9 on this one. So I'm going to have to get a 9-pin 19-inch tube, and I'll set this aside. So I'm going to end up with 2 of these 7000Bs with the small neck and 1 with the large neck. So let me get the correct type of tube. I wanted to show this because I had made that mistake, and I'm sorry about that. Let me get the correct type of tube and we'll test it on that type. So hang on one second. Okay, so here we have the correct type of tube. This is your standard P447 19-inch 7000 with the large neck. And if I take this off of here, you can see 9 pins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 9 pins there. And again, these two aren't used, so you can see it's the same exact type of neck socket. And for some reason, I assumed this was the small neck because the other two ones I have like this are small neck. So anyway, we'll take this off of here and I'll slave this on and we'll turn it on and see what we get. One moment. Alright, 19-inch K7000B. Been sitting for 18 years in theory. It's all hooked up, ready to go. Let's go ahead and turn our test pattern generator on. We've got anode, neck, yoke, ground, video, and power. Our DAG ground's a bit banjoed because that original DAG wire to the neck board's a bit loose, or I'm sorry, loose. It's a bit short. So that shouldn't be an issue though. It's hooked up and secure. Well, all right. Let's find out. 18 years. I'm very interested to see what this is all about with grounding the focus wire. But all of our testing indicates it should fire up. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hit the switch. 1, 2, 3. Actually, you know what? Let me kill the light here so we can see what's on the screen without glare from the overhead. There we are. All right. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Well, it turned on, but not very vigorously, like I would expect it to for the first time in 18 years. But, oh, hey! 50-60 hertz needs adjusted. You can see it's folded over. It's completely out of focus. Not unexpected. I forgot to mention the flyback is original. It's odd looking as well. Let's get our focus here going. Well, I got the focus cranked completely. Right there is as good as I can make it, and the focus is completely all the way maxed out to the right. It should be in focus somewhat centered. So usually when you have an image that you can't focus up, or you have to have the flyback cranked completely one way or the other on the focus, the flyback is going bad because there's a resistor internal to the flyback that controls the resistance. It should be focused with it in the middle of the range of the pot. If I have to have it cranked all the way one way or the other, it's a sign of the flyback going out. But let's turn our contrast down. Let me actually get this on the tripod. Hang on a second. Alright, sorry, that wasn't very professional, but now we're good to go. I can already tell you that we're going to have width issues because I got like an inch and or it's almost 2 inches of black here and over an inch of black here, so we may have issues with being able to stretch it completely to the right. And you can see we have huge geometry problems. You can see how squished this block is compared to this block. So it's on both sides. I wonder if we can fix that. You can see how it's, look at this here. This is very odd. But I'm wondering if turning contrast down will fix that. Let's go ahead and do that. Yes, that fixes that problem. Okay, as I suspected. But let's do our normal testing, our normal adjustments. Contrast and black level. Contrast and brightness completely down. Flyback up until we get the raster lines. Right. Well, we got our lines here. It's hard for you to see, but they're there. Then we'll turn it back down until they just go away. Roughly there. And readjust our brightness and contrast as needed. Brightness should be roughly there until we don't see anything in the background. See if I can zoom in and show you. So you can see how you can see it's white in the background. You want that to be gone. So we turn our brightness down until it goes away roughly there. Right there is perfect. That's where you want your brightness to be set to. So if we zoom back out and our contrast, let's say roughly there. That looks good. H position, let's go there. Vertical size. And you can see we got squishing and fold over on the bottom. But again, like always, that's our 50-60 hertz pot. So let's get that adjusted. That's good there. And if we do our vertical position and size again, I got loose connections here, but if we go down, vertical size, let's turn our contrast back down a bit. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty good, but it's still the focus is like 98%. If I try and adjust it here, yeah, that's completely all the way tweaked to the right. I may have to replace that flyback because A, it is original, and B, it's kind of still out of focus slightly in person. It looks good on camera, but trust me, in person it's slightly out. The width, I wonder if I can I get in there and adjust that width? Let me see here. Yeah. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to get out of it. But as you can see, that is working. Success! All right. Again, always use your plastic adjustment tool. You can't see it, but there you go. Plastic adjustment tool. Well, hot dog. All right. We got a good image. I got connection issues with my remote harness, but yeah. Let's turn that flyback back down a bit. Well, there you go. You can see what game this used to be. Pac-Man, or Miss Pac-Man, looks like, with the Midway. It's odd. Well, I think that's Pac-Man, or Miss Pac-Man, but I'm not professional. But it's odd that you wouldn't have the maze pattern here, and this is the only screen burn that you would see. Let me get to a blue screen or a red screen here. Oh yeah, it's Pac-Man. You can see push start player 1 or 2, additional something or other. Well, maybe you can't. Let's go to the blue screen. No, red screen's where it's mostly visible. I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, there you go. You can see it now. Anyway, trust me, it's there. It's not that bad, but it's still there. Absolutely not noticeable, most likely when you're playing any regular game. But yeah, okay, success. I may end up changing the flyback out, but there's no reason to really do that on the video because it's pretty self-explanatory, and I am interested. You know what? In the interest of science, let's cut that splice out where it has or at least let's cut it open and inspect it and see if that makes any difference on our focus, because I'm wondering if whatever kind of crazy harebrained schemes going on there is affecting this focus issue of having to have it completely maxed out. Let's tear that apart and see what's going on inside of that thing. Alright, so again, it's got the wire coming from the focus of the flyback and the wire going to the focus pin on the neck board, spliced in with the wire here going to the chassis frame. So I don't understand really what's going on here. It doesn't come apart. Well, you never ever cut towards yourself, boys and girls. Boy Scout rule number 1, never cut towards yourself. Alright. Oh, well, there's a giant resistor on. What in the heck is going on here? I have never seen that before, ever. It's some type of resistor. 470 mega ohm? High voltage? Huh. Well, just out of curiosity here, what were to happen if I was to blink, take that out, plug this in, make sure that's not going to touch anything. We'll leave that like that. Plug our test pattern generator back in on the correct pins. Get dummy. Okay. And all right. Let's see what that does, if anything. Bring this back. There we go. Hello. Let's see what that does. Is that going to affect my focus? We're all still hooked up. Let's push this back around there. Okay. I think we're ready to try this again. Oop. Test pattern generator on. Let's see what the focus looks like now. Let's turn it on. Obviously someone did that on purpose. Oh, I see. The image is jumping a bit, and we have our raster. Now it's not jumping anymore, and our raster lines are very pronounced. See the raster lines? So obviously this was causing something with the flyback to be too bright. Can we adjust our focus any? Yes, there we go. Perfect. So it was maxed out to the right. I moved it back to center, and it's much better, and you can see how much better that is now. Well, it's a bit too close, sorry. But, so right now I'm going to turn it back completely to the right where it used to be. Okay, right there is where it was when we turned it on, where it used to be. Now I'm going to turn it back to roughly the center where it should be. There you go. I don't know if you can tell on camera how much better that is. Yeah. So right there is roughly center. So that's how it should be. So it looks like my theory was correct. Whatever this mod was with that resistor that they put in there was affecting my focus, just like I thought. So I don't know if that was a mod someone did to make it compatible with a different type of tube or affecting the brightness. I can't say. But it looks like taking it out of there fixed the problem. So now I'm going to call this a repair, a successful repair. K7000B 19-inch large neck version. P447B sitting for 18 years, successfully operational. So stay tuned for the other 3 chassis that I have received in this lot. Actually, I think there's 4 because I have a G07 I mentioned before that's dead. I have to figure that out, but I don't have a tube for it. I currently don't have any G07 tubes, so once I get a tube I'll be working on that. But the other 3 chassis I will get to as soon as I can. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned something. I know I did. This was a very interesting mod. I don't know what the purpose of it is. I'll have to remove it completely. And then, but yeah, I'm not going to change the flyback out because it's working. I don't like changing out parts that are working just for the sake of changing them, because if it's working, I'm going to leave it. And yeah, thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next repair.